Everybody's good? Zen, you're good? Nikki, you're good? Everyone's good? Yes? There's also like delays, but we'll figure it out. We're not concerned. We're just going with the flow. So if you guys have any questions, you can DM me because I'll be able to read it. If you don't want to put yourself out there and be transparent, you can DM me a question or something that you've been dealing with, and we can address it that way. I can ask Dr. Sayida. I think she's trying to figure out how to jump on, but we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for a moment. I'm just grateful that everyone who has joined so far is here, and we're gonna talk about life right now. Okay, you know how it's affecting everyone, what we're seeing. I saw a post today mentioning no names about somebody throwing a social distancing party, you know, which is quite interesting. Really not the time for that, you know. It's the time to go inward and deal with things that are coming up. So I'm really excited to have our guest, Dr. Sayida, jump on and talk to us about her perspective on what's going on March 2020. So, let's see. So what have you guys been doing to pass time? I want to know, what are you up to? Since I can't see you, you know, I miss you guys a lot. It is, what is it, Sunday? That's right. We know what we normally do on Sundays. What's up, Shauna? That's like, I'm dealing with this. How am I dealing with this myself? Okay, so hold on. Sayida is trying to figure out how to jump on. Let me just communicate with her. Hold on a second. I'm doing great. You know, I'm doing great. Actually, I feel like I am, you know, the topic today is surviving and thriving at the same time. I think it's a really important time for us to look at so many things, which is the reason why I'm being guided to do these lives. I think it's really important. Just let me... So she's trying to figure it out right now. I'm trying to communicate with her. But yeah, no, honestly, I'm doing very, very well. Hello, T-Dot is in the house. How are you? So grateful to have you here. So basically, I was saying, Vicky, that if you guys have any concerns, I really want to know what everyone's up to. I want to know how everyone's state of mind is, how they're dealing with things. Last week was one vibration. This week is a completely different one. You know, are you staying motivated? Craig! I love you, Craig. Love you. We got, okay. Anyone wants to talk about what they've been going through, their experience, how they're dealing with what's going on right now. This is, you know, the platform. This is the time for you to talk about it. Not everybody's happy. Not everybody's excited about it. And, you know, I'm grateful that you're mentioning my sister in my workout videos. And that's kind of like the whole point of perspective is everything. And you have to really find the joy in everything that you do. Yay! Yay! You guys are in for a treat. I can tell you that. What's up, Miriam? You got it, Sayida?
I think so. Girl!
Yes, girl, yes.
I was like, I'm trying.
That's okay. You know what? This is perfect because we're in a time where we have to figure out how to do something in a new way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it's perfect. I think it's perfect. I'm so glad that you're here.
Oh, I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. We talk, but I don't get to see you.
This is, you know what, it's great to see you, and this is what Spirit was like. You can still connect with people. You can still do it in a creative way, which is really important. And I think that what some people are having challenges is doing something different, thinking, having a new thought system towards the old three-dimensional ego-based thought system, okay? Because we are definitely being asked to let go of that. But what I want to talk to you about, so many things, if someone isn't in the right state of mind, okay, let's say somebody has been down, they've been depressed, okay, and all of this stuff is, happening, and they can't seem to find their balance, during this time. What is it? Because, people could look at us. I know you meditate every day. We do it together,
Yeah.
doing for years. They can look at us and be like that. They don't can't even relate.
Yeah, like it's not relevant. Yeah.
It's not relevant to them. So how is it possible? Okay, so there's a lot of comments here. How is it possible for someone who's not feeling their highest and not thinking their highest to achieve that? Take a step. Like, how does that person do that?
Well, I mean, I think it's first of all really important to recognize that not everybody met COVID-19 at like a baseline, right? So I hear like people having this expectation that people are supposed to like jump on this, experience of having less interactions with other people, which is less distractions from your own inner thoughts and your inner feelings. And that's supposed to be like a fun opportunity to move into. But some people were highly in distracted living. A lot, I mean, as a psychologist, I work with people pretty often who are at their wits' end on a regular basis. And I think about them right now when everybody else who otherwise was doing fine is having a hard time, right? And so I think you have to really assess, where did you start off? Like, just for yourself, like, where was I at when this happened? And how am I feeling right now? And what would be the next uplift to that, right? So if I'm working with people who are highly suicidal, which I have many times for many years, I personally might go to affirmations and joy-filled conversations. Personally, if I'm having a hard day, right, I might, put on good sounding music and get excited and talk to people. But if you're in a space where you're at the lowest place of despair, you feel like you cannot see how any of this is going to make sense. How am I going to be able to pay my bills? How am I going to be able to like resume my life? Then what's the next step for that? Some people, that's sleep. And I know that, like, because you just need a pause sometimes just from that energy, right? So wherever you're at, like, is it that you need a pause from the energy? So does that mean turning off the social media, turning off the radio, turning off the news? At this point, we're all in the house. If you haven't gotten what you need, you probably you probably collected all the things that you can have in your house at this point, and you could take a day, like check in with your specific loved ones and not tune in to anything else that's going on as far as what is the record, how many people this, and what are they saying about the trajectory of when we're going to get back to normal. Like, all of that futurizing is going to not help you like calm yourself down. And so whatever it, like, finding that thing for you. So for some people it could be sleep because they're overstimulated, watching fun movies. I know, like, if I'm in a sad time, sometimes a sad song, I actually feel uplifted. I feel like, man, they really understand me. Sade, some Tracy Chapman, some, like some good, like whatever.
You gotta honor, right?
You gotta honor your feelings. You gotta honor your feelings. You gotta recognize where you're at. And then what's the thing that's a little bit higher than that? So if you're already like just feeling a bit anxious, right? And you're feeling like you're about to tip over, like, oh my goodness, I thought this was gonna be done. Now it's not. So that might be time to like de-stimulate your mind. Like, slow it down. If you were watching a lot of movies, maybe read some books, right? Slow it down a little bit.
I'm going to stop you right now because you know my mother, okay? Okay. You know my mother. And she's spiritual. But
I love your mother.
You know my mother, right? But she has got to tell me exactly what's going on in the news every second. She knows, what that does, but she's not stopping that. It's toxic, perpetual behavior that she has adopted, and it's hard for her to stop that.
Yeah.
What do you tell someone like that?
Well, I would always ask the question, how does that make you feel? How do you feel when you're doing that, right? So some people, and that's what I'm saying, it's all about self-assessment. I don't believe that there is any one particular thing everybody needs to be doing because everybody's starting from a different place, right? So if you find that
one is starting from a different place, okay? Very important.
So if you feel like looking at the news, understanding what's happening, sort of making sure that you understand the numbers, if that actually feels like at the end of the day, you're like, great, now I know where we're at. I'm in my house. I'm safe, whatever that means to you. And you feel calm and you can go to sleep and your body is relaxed and you're not feeling tense. And you feel like it was information that you were able to sort of like integrate without it upsetting your whole system. I'm not going to argue with you about that. I would prefer, I think it's not healthy to overengage because that's not normal. Like the mind shouldn't be fixated on one particular thing over and over and over. It's too dynamic. We're creative beings. There are things that your mind wants you to think about that are about you, not just about what's happening in other people's lives, right? But if you're not devastated by that, I'm not going to fight with you about it, right? As a psychologist, like if I'm working with you, right? Or if I'm, kind of coaching. But if you can't sleep at night, if after you watch it, you got to do something to calm yourself down. Oh, I need to take a drink now. Oh, I'm going to need to take a smoke. Oh, let me call Sula, right? And see if I can tell her all these things so that she can also feel like the world is going to end and we can feel like that together. Because if you are amping up, then it means that doesn't work for you. And so that's not going to work, right? My husband watches the news. I think it's I'm completely disinterested. There are a couple of medical websites that I'll go to when I want to know what's happening for birthing women, because that's the world I'm in. What is my county public health people saying about the stores and the schools? I need to know that. Other than that, I don't want to hear about anything 45 is saying, anything anybody else has to say about what he's saying, because that doesn't make me feel good.
And touch on that. How is what you're thinking making you feel? And if it's not making you feel good, then you really need to release that way of thinking. I mean, it's so challenging. I mean, for people who are in a fear-based vibration to shift into a peaceful one, right? That's why someone who's never meditated will not be able to resonate. What we do will not be able to resonate. So where does a person who is, not thinking clearly, not feeling good, stuck in that cycle, what are the things that you suggest that they do?
Well, I think people underestimate physical things that make your mind and your emotions feel better. That's my first go-to for myself, for clients, for family members. You're not feeling well, you're feeling fatigued, you're feeling anxious. There are things you could do to your body first, because sometimes it's hard to get the mind to settle itself. I recognize that. If you don't have a practice of mental discipline, that is a hard place to start, right? But if you start with exercise, you're very serious about that. My brother is very serious about that. If you get your body moving and you get all the emotional chemicals that are flowing through your body to just circulate the blood to flow, for energy to get out, you will be surprised at how much better you feel emotionally, how you feel mentally. You actually are clearer minded, right? Drinking water. People forget, and especially now that we're at home, I think a lot of people, I know myself included, I had a system of drinking water when I was headed out, and so because I'm out of my routine, I realized a couple days ago that I hadn't really drank any amount of water because I wasn't doing my typical routine, right? So water makes a difference. Memory, your body's sense of like it needs water to thrive. So when it's getting dehydrated, it does get it starts to get stiff, and the stiff feeling in your body is a little reminiscent of stress, anxiety, tension, right? You also, there are nutritional, vitamins, obviously. I know you talk about this a lot. My favorite is this, and you can order it online now, so you don't have to go to the store, but if you need to, Amazing Grass, superfood. I will never have another day in my life where I don't take that. Because, you know what?
You're serious about it.
I'm very serious about it. People know you can find me in another state traveling, and in my bag, I've got a whole bunch of little packets of green stuff. At the airport, they're always like, ma'am, what is this? But and so some of those things are the first thing you could do. If you can't get your mind together, try to do the opposite, where get your body feeling like, I must be okay if I'm exercising. I must be okay if I'm hydrated. You know what I mean? I must be okay. Say it again.
On this platform, if you have a question for Dr. Sayida, or you want to talk to her about some things that you've been going through, and myself, please post your question here, and we'll definitely address it. We're talking, sharing our experiences and lifting each other, through light and love on this platform. Sayida, is there anything that you want to talk about that you feel has come to your attention during this time? in regards to the people that you work and deal with, or just personally?
Well, I think this is, I think for all of us, an opportunity to put to work anything we were ever doing that we thought was what we should be doing, right? And actually center things that I might not have been doing that I felt I should, but I didn't have time to do. I was too busy to do. So right now, I'm really looking at this time as an opportunity to like re-examine what are all the things I say that I'm too busy for every day. Because I'm here, the kids are
About that,
here.
you jumped on, she was saying that. Yes.
I mean, I've got lists and lists and lists, of things that I want to start, want to work on, want to, finish. And
Yeah.
the actual opportunity, I really am every day looking for blessings in this. And this is not something I just started at COVID-19. I believe strongly that gratitude and focusing your mind toward things you're grateful for can help you have perspective, because nothing is black or white. Nothing is all bad or all good. Even, my godfather, Brother Ishmael, who's a spiritual minister with the Theory of Mission, he always says that
He's amazing.
he's amazing.
He's
And he
amazing.
has a beautiful COVID-19 message, which maybe we can share somehow in this system. I don't,
Yes.
I'm not so tech savvy, but I'll send it to you and post it.
Well, yeah, we'll share it with you guys for sure.
Yeah, but he says, even if I am dead and my body's being eaten by worms, the glory of God, like the universe is still finding way to bring life to it.
Life.
My body will go back into the earth. The worms are having their meal, and as desolate as that sounds, and he uses nature as an example for everything, which is a very traditional way. But I always think of it though, because when times are not ideal, it's easy, and the world tells you to just focus on the thing that's terrible. But there's also something else always happening on the other side of that. So in my life, I get to spend even more time with my children, which is interesting because we have so much time now that I don't feel anxious about not being able to do certain things in a day that I used to, because they go to school and then I'm working and I'm traveling. So we have enough time for me to like really think about, what do I want this time to be about? Like, the luxury of time is something that I would have paid $1 million for, to have this amount of time available to myself, to my children, to my family. We're communicating. I mean, we communicate a lot, but we're communicating even more. I think some of the things that are being centered for the nation, particularly around maternal health, are really waking everybody up about the healthcare system, and the fact that we have birth happening in hospitals is not terribly compatible when we have a crisis. But it's also not compatible, and sometimes especially the location that you're walking in the same door where sick people walk when you're going to have your baby, right? Like, other systems have separated out systems that even if you have a physician's care, it's not in the same building and in the same setting and in the same mentality as where sick people go. And so there's a lot of, and obviously the move for midwives to be available, because people don't want to go anymore. They're like, I don't want to have my baby there.
It's so interesting because so everyone on this platform right now, Dr. Sayida was my doula, okay, and for my daughter, and I had a home natural water birth, and I was scrutinized, for that. And now, people are like, really,
Yeah,
their mind, their visuals are shifting, and it's so interesting because you think this is how we had our children back then, and we've
right.
disconnected ourselves so far. Now we're being brought back to, what really matters. I think this is very important right now. A lot of people need to understand is that it really is coming back to the heart space.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And, it's the integrated mind and the, heart. And it's a beautiful time. And I think that you are a wonderful person to give people a different perspective, because you really are a psychologist. At the same time, you're a spiritualist, and you're a doula. You got all these beautiful, beautiful pieces that come together that form the beautiful Dr. Sayida.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you have a question for Dr. Sayida, or you want to talk to her about some things that you've been going through, and myself, please post your question here and we'll definitely address it. We're talking, sharing our experiences and lifting each other, through light and love on this platform. Uh, Saida, is there anything that you want to like talk about that you feel has come to your attention during this time in regards to the people that you work and deal with, or just personally?
Well, I think I think for all of us, an opportunity to put to work anything we were ever ideal. It's easy, and the world tells you to just focus on the thing that's terrible. But there's also something else always happening on the other side of that. So in my life, I get to spend even more time with my children, which is interesting because
Interesting because you think this is how we had our children back then.
maintain your health? How do you maintain your vitality? There's a lot of concern about people who are really sick, which is very valuable. And we are all in prayer for all of them to have healing. But there's also a huge population of people that are really wanting to know that they can survive if they encounter and come in contact with the virus. And all of that, I mean, all the doctors, everybody's saying, well, people's immune system. But what do you do every day to boost your immune system?
Wait for Dr. Saida to get back on, but clearly internet connection isn't always the best right now because we have everybody's online. So I guess it doesn't matter what time you jump on. So I'm gonna, okay, there we go. Here we go. We lost the connection. We're back on. Hey, Nikki. Nikki. Thank you guys for coming back, joining me back on. I'm waiting for Sayida to jump back on. If you guys want to add her Instagram is Dr. Sayida. You can follow her on, you can find her on my, Keisha, on my page. So Dr. Sayida will be jumping back on again. We've just been having deep conversations. Hey, Lavelle. About life. How are you doing, Lavelle? How's life treating you? How you holding up? How are you holding up? If you guys have, I really want to know how you guys are dealing during this time. Is it, a challenging time for you? Is it a time where you're using it for deeper reflection? Good to know. What's going on? How are you staying busy? Is there some kind of deeper awareness and understanding that is coming to you right now? Hey, Vicky, so interesting, Vicky, that Dr. Sayida was touching on some things that you and I talked about. And if anyone wants to jump on live or anyone has a question, go for it, okay? She'll be back on again. Isn't she amazing? She's so amazing. Just like all you guys are amazing. I really enjoyed that conversation I had with you, Vicky. Thank you for jumping on my live. You're more than welcome to do so again. So we're talking about, there she is. Okay, here we are. Here we are. Right. Look at that, sis. Look at that. Do something once, you just learn how
Sorry, friend. Technology.
That's right. We got to teach each other,
No,
Judgment.
we're going to have a whole tutorial. For whatever reason, I can only do this on my phone. It won't let me go live on the computer. I don't know if that's a thing. And then my phone died or something. It did some weird thing. So
that's okay. We're kind of like everywhere talking about everything. But I think that you and I said something, I wrote it down, that hardships are an opportunity. Hardships are an opportunity to shift on a lot of levels in many, many ways. Would you care to share how one shift during this time, hardship, if some people are seeing it in that way?
So you were cutting out a little bit. You said to talk about how hardships can be reframed, basically.
How they can be opportunities to shift, okay? And on many levels, not just, consciously like, okay, I need to change my way of thinking, or I need to, what other way, like, because in all honesty, there's a lot of people who use work and daily life activities as an opportunity to disconnect and not deal.
That's true.
And, there are a lot of people who are now in a house of, 4, 6, whatever people. and the communication hasn't been on point. So maybe they need to learn how to communicate that. Or, I mean, just a lot of people affected, and energy affects everything.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so how can people, in what ways can they shift? What are some examples that people can shift on? Like, whether it be a state of mind or way of living, like,
Well, yeah, I think so. I think the first thing is that if you look at the world in your life, like every moment is an opportunity of some information. I'm always sort of curious. I try to wake up with the level of curiosity for my life, especially when things don't go as planned.
well, don't you have to be emotionally, like,
Yeah, maybe, but I think that comes from a lot of spiritual work, self-development work. Those things that's some of the lessons that you learn in lots of spiritual practice, philosophical practice of, sort of expecting that there is something more than just your agenda happening in your life, right?
yes.
But if you have that, if you just throw that in there, maybe you weren't thinking this before, but you just consider that there might be something, right?
Right.
Interesting that has some messages, some information. When you become curious, then your mind, which is always, if I tell you red car, you're going to see red cars all day long if you're out and about, right? And so if you're looking for opportunities to hear, what is it, I would say that the universe is trying to help me see differently, trying to help me grow differently. Like if I am living my life and I'm going to over time become smarter, have more understanding, be a more professional in my work, be a better parent, be in better relationships. Like if I'm trying to grow and achieve in any way, or if I imagine that I might change, what might this moment be showing me, right? And so I think when you come with curiosity rather than judgment as the first response, judgment is natural for the ego, right? It's natural for the mind to try to make sense of everything. But if you tell yourself, let me ask a question, right? Yeah. Because you could just take yourself all the way out by just, well, this is supposed to be like this, and this is supposed to be like that. Well, I was supposed to do this. I mean, I'll tell you, right before COVID-19, I was supposed to be in Alaska.
That's right.
Right? Very well paid.
Yes.
So excited. It was my first sort of farthest. I mean, even though it's technically America, it felt like it wasn't, because it's so far. And it was going to be a whole different environment. I've never been to Alaska, and I was going to speak at a really valuable conference on motherhood and parenting and
right.
talk about all the things I love to talk about. And it got canceled, not because of COVID-19, just their own situations with the conference. But my dad had planned the trip to fly out with me. He and I have never traveled together before. It was an opportunity for us to have time away from, I mean, it was like this amazing thing that we had been planning for months, and it got canceled 2 weeks or a week before he got here, which meant everything had to change. But right away, instead of, I mean, really, like, and this is like the training that I've made myself train, but for moments like a COVID-19, I'm so grateful for this training that, okay, what information is here for me? I've got something for everything. And in my little oil Bible, where I know if you have this, if you have that, flu-like symptoms, throat. Now, mind you, everybody in my house is healthy, praise to God. But it's also like, how do you maintain your health? How do you maintain your vitality? There's a lot of concern about people who are really sick, which is very valuable. And we are all in prayer for all of them to have healing. But there's also a huge population of people that are really wanting to know that they can survive if they encounter and come in contact with the virus. And all of that, I mean, all the doctors, everybody's saying, well, people's immune system. But what do you do every day to boost your immune system? And so I said, well, since we're on, I'm going to share what I do, because I think that this is something that is amazing, that my children do, that my husband, I mean, reluctantly as they are, I'm splattering oils all over them.
Share away.
So these are my favorite 4. Okay, I'm going to put them closer. These are my favorite 4.
What are they?
Peppermint, lavender, a lot of people probably have such things, frankincense, and thieves. Okay, so these oils are from Young Living. There are a number of oil companies out there. I think, there's people have their own relationship with essential oils. I have come to love my Young Living essential oils. And when you have these kits, right, where they have these, I would say like the mommy kit. It's a kit for the family. And
Yes.
every little cold, every little sniffle, and every little tummy ache, and digest they've got kits that have everything in them.
But
I
there's
have
a myth
that.
about being, a naturalist. What's up, Q? That being natural or things coming from nature are not powerful. Well, look what nature's doing now, people. You know what I'm saying? Look what nature is very powerful. And until
Yeah,
you
and I
have,
mean, I think it's just uninformed. I think when you study things, like you actually study, then you realize, oh, so many of the medications that we use over the counter are actually from a plant, right? And that's all essential oils are, is oils that are extracted in their potency purely from
yes,
some natural source, right? So I remember I had a toothache years ago, and I had clove at home, the essential
yeah,
oil clove. I had been told it would be helpful for it. So I went to the dentist, and they're like, you don't feel this? You should be in excruciating pain. I mean, this thing should be. And I was like, no, I'm not really feeling any of that. And they were like, what have you been putting on it? And I'm like, oh, clove essential oil. And the anesthesiologist was saying that, oh, that's basically all that's in the thing that we use to numb you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I was like, oh, well, I'm good then, right? Like, at least I'm not going to have pain when I go to the dentist. So now I've used my clove before I go to the dentist. And I have less anxiety about that experience because I know. So, I mean, the way there's so many different tools. So I would say if you want to bring some kind of like personal strategy to your life, in addition to all the other things that are out there, having an essential oil kit, especially at a time like this, if you are
Mhm.
able to, if you have the finances to. I wish I had been making packets, and I've sent a friend of mine's son was sick, and I put on my oils and sent some stuff to her. But if you have, the finances, and lots of people are finding ways, I would recommend you get it, and you can reach out to me and find out how to do that, because it, for me, gives me a sense of calm. And I think that helps, like things that you can do something about. I can do something about what I listen to. I can do something about what I eat. I can do
Mhm.
something about how I exercise and move my body. I can do something about what I take into my body to boost my immune system. That's what I can do right now.
What can you
Everything
do?
else,
I'd say right now, what can you do for yourself that makes you feel better? Okay. And this is honestly the first step, let's say, for somebody that has no structure, okay, or, something that they've implemented to go to already, is to start where it feels. Okay. Do I always feel like exercising when I wake up? Absolutely not. Okay. I talk smack about it on my videos, all right? But I do, nevertheless, take effort because I know that how I'm going to feel afterwards.